Hey guys, it's Mitch here. Welcome back to my channel. This is the first video of 2020. I hope you all had a happy new year and a happy holiday season. Today's video is about Pleione winter care. This is a really rainy, gray, wet day here on the west coast. You can barely see, well, anything out there on the water. But it's nice and dry here under my overhang. And that's where I have all of my Pleione orchids right now. I have some Pleione orchids there too because they don't mind getting a little bit cold and frosty. But this is one thing I really like about growing Pleione orchids is the winter care for a lot of these spring flowering ones is, well, you don't have to do anything. If you decided to unpot all of your Pleione orchids and put them in the fridge, then they are sitting in the fridge right now. And if you're lazy like me and you left them outside in a nice temperate climate where it doesn't get much more than -5, you can just leave them outside close to the house somewhere where it's nice and dry. So that's where mine are sitting right now. The only thing I did in the fall is add a little extra layer of bark because from all the watering that I did in the summer, a lot of that got washed out of the top. And that's about it. Cleaned up all the dead leaves in the fall. You saw that in my other video. But other than that, they're just sitting here. Here are some old flower buds. This is Pleione Wharfdale Pine Warbler. So this is a winter blooming one. It just finished blooming a few weeks ago. These are just slow to dry up. If you look on my Instagram, there's a nice picture of one of the blooms. But those ones are a little bit different because I bring them inside and leave them on my windowsill and let them flower. And then I put them outside. So they kind of stay outside in the fall till I really see the flower buds starting to come up. Then I bring them inside, let them flower, and then I stick them back outside. And I don't water those at all. But yeah, that's what they look like right now. Some of them have really nice fat bulbs, and I can't wait to see how they flower in the spring. This is another one that's a fall blooming one, so it's a Pleione praecox. It's a mix between Pleione formosana and Pleione praecox. Sorry, it's called Pleione bartena. And you can see that it's already starting to grow the new growths out, but it doesn't mind being out in the cold. Anyway, so that's pretty easy for those winter ones. So let's go inside and look at what I do with some of the other fall blooming Pleiones that I have and their winter care. So this is a little pot of Pleione maculata. Actually, I repotted all of my other ones a little bit earlier in the year, but I forgot about this one. This one is a fall blooming one, has a really pretty white flower, and I usually repot them right after blooming. The only thing is this year, my Pleione maculatas all got a little bit of scale infestation, and I didn't really treat it very quickly, so I just separated the pots, and so the only ones that got repotted are the ones that had the scale, and I actually forgot all about this one, so it was just sitting there under my lights. But I'll quickly show you how it looks in the fall when you pull it out. So bear with me because I'm doing this one-handed, but here if you pull out the top, you can see the bulbs are in there. So what I will do is just take them out, and here I'll try and do this one-handed here. So here's one of the little bulbs. Like I said, I didn't really take good care of them this year, so some of them are really small, like this one is really small. But you can see when you pull back these little sheaths that there's the new growth starting to grow, and you can already see the new root. So that's about the time of year or this time of year, but also this is the stage that I want to be repotting them at, when they have that little new growth and you see the new root coming down. So I will clean this bulb up. I will, pull off the old bulb, cut off all the roots, take off these little protective sheaths, and then pot them up. If you want to see how I pot them up, it's very similar, almost identical to how I pot up Pleione praecox. So if you're interested, you can go see that video. But anyway, that's what they look like when they come out of the ground. This one's a little bit small. Usually they're about twice as big. Anyway, let's go look at the other ones that I already did pot up, and we'll talk about their winter care. So here we are now. We are in my basement. This is my little basement window ledge, or one of them, and this is where I keep my fall blooming Pleiones. They can't get as cold as the spring blooming ones that can leave outside, so I just leave them down here on a cool windowsill and just let them do their thing over the winter. So here you can see, this is a Pleione maculata that I potted up maybe a month ago, 6 weeks ago. And you can see that the growths are much further along than that other one that I just showed you. You can see the new leaves coming up, and when you push on the bulbs, you can feel that the roots are already going down into the medium because they don't wiggle as much. So these ones, I do leave them mostly dry. If you look closely, you can see that they're wet now because I do water them once a month, once I see the growth kind of starting to go. And I do that with all of them. So this is a Pleione praecox that I have here, and I just watered it. And this is also Pleione praecox, and this is also Pleione praecox. These ones aren't as far along as another pot of Pleione praecox, so I'll go and show you those ones. So this is the other Pleione praecox. It's a little bit further along, and I really am happy that it is because I can show you the next stage of growth. So after the bulbs, which kind of look like this, here's a Pleione maculata. You can see the little, growths coming up. And here's another little Pleione praecox, and it has a little leaf starting. It just starts to elongate. And then you see here the next stage. So this is like the leaves really start to kind of go. If you push on the bulbs, you can feel that there's something, the roots are holding it in. They don't wiggle quite as much as the other one. And I know in some books I've read that people say don't water these at all, but I don't find that's true. I water them. I always watered my Pleione maculatas because I had them warm and under my lights, so they dried out really, really quickly. So once every couple of weeks, I would give them a drink of water. I would just soak them and then let them dry back out. But they dry out really quickly because I have them in a really well-draining and aerated mix. So I found it wasn't a negative thing to water them, but I have read that people say don't water these at all because there's a risk of rotting. Well, I haven't found that personally, but everybody's growing experience is different. So you got to make a judgment call if you're growing these on whether you're going to water them or not. I water them once a month and then let them get really, really dry again. So yeah, that's how they're growing now. Other than that, I don't really do much of anything. These ones are pretty far along, so I may put them under my lights in the next month, depending on how big these leaves get. But you know what? I'm kind of trying to shy away from growing these under lights. I'm going to try and just grow them in the windowsill and maybe just put them outside in the spring and see how they do outside in the summer, because then it's less work for me. Anyway, I do like growing Pleiones. They're one of my favorite orchids. There's not a lot of information on there I found on the internet, so I kind of figure stuff out as I go and try new things, and yeah, they seem to be doing pretty well for me. So if you see these around, give them a try, and thanks very much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to comment down below. See you later.